31st December, it's New Year's Eve. Wishing you a very happy new year. In this episode, I thought I just wanted to just touch upon some of the thoughts as we reflect on the fourth test match now that more than a day has passed, and I think we need to look at it more from a rational lens as opposed to being emotional. So I know in the Indian media, there's a lot of talk around, in terms of who's responsible for this loss. But I think a bigger question is, why did we lose? And the question is, were we outplayed throughout this test match? And the answer to that, I'm sure you would agree, is a resounding no. Yes, we were behind at the end of certain days, but we fought back on the back of Bumrah's showing or on the back of Nitish Reddy. So we'll just go into those. I think look at those key moments where India could have really left a mark on this series by if not winning the test, by at least drawing the test and going into Sydney 1-all. So the first key moment, and this was at the end of day one, when Bumrah got us back with this, I think 3 wickets. He got Travis Head, Mitchell Marsh in quick succession. I think he picked up 3 wickets in the first day, and Australia was 311 for 6, and Akashdeep got carry out as well. So with the new ball going into day 2, I think there was enough opportunity to restrict Australia to a score of 375. So that was the opportunity 1, which we had. And then we messed it up by not bowling well. This is where I think Siraj and Akashdeep could have done better. And we let Australia from 311 for 6. They went on to make 474. So that's about 160 runs added for the last 4 wickets, which is a bit too much, given that we also had the new ball, remember. So that's the first mistake. Mistake number 2. At the end of day 2, I think we were in a good position with 160 on the board with 2 wickets down, Yashasvi and Kohli batting well. And then there was this crazy run out where Yashasvi Jaiswal, between Kohli and Jaiswal, big mix up. And I don't want to get into who made the mistake, but it was an avoidable run. And then after that mishap, if I can call it that, then we saw Kohli getting out, and then Akashdeep got out. He was sent in as a night watchman. So we lost 3 wickets in the space of 15 or so minutes or 20 minutes. And that was a huge moment in the game. So this was the second mistake that we made. What about the third? Coming to the third mistake, this was on day 3 when Rishabh Pant and Jadeja were batting. They batted out, I think, the initial half an hour, seeing out the bowlers. I think there was not much in the pitch. And just on the pitch, I think worth mentioning that till day 3, the pitch was not as quick. So therefore, it was quite flat to bat on. Definitely easier in the first innings than the second innings. And this is where I think we lost, as I mentioned in the previous day, the opportunity to bat big by that crazy half an hour that we had, wherein we lost those 3 wickets. Yeah, so I digress. Coming back to this mistake here, where Rishabh Pant attempts a scoop with 2 fielders back. On the boundary, there was a fine leg, and then there was a third man. There was also a deep backward square. So a low percentage shot, given the ground was a big ground. And Scott Boland, remember, is not an express bowler. And this was not Gabba or the Perth, wherein you could use the pace of the pitch to get the ball over the boundary. So there was a very high risk shot, even if he had connected. So I think that's why Sunil Gavaskar reacted the way he did. Now, I don't agree with many of his thoughts on or his opinions, but I think here, while I don't agree that we should berate a player to that extent, but I think it was a big mistake. It was a mistake. I would put this on the same level as the mistake between Kohli and Jaiswal that ran out. So that was crazy as well, right? So this was the third mistake in the test, which we could have very well avoided. Pitch was flat. Rishabh Pant, had he batted like he normally bats, which is responding to the situation, playing the field and so on, I think we could have made more runs in the first innings. So that's the third mistake. Coming to the fourth mistake, and these are the 4 drop catches from Jaiswal, 3 drop catches from Jaiswal and 1 from Siraj, and the key drop was from Labuschagne when he was, I think, on 45 or 46. Remember, he went on to make 70 in that key partnership with Cummins when Australia were 90 odd for 6. If we were to get them out, I mean, if the fielder, which is Jaiswal, had held on to that catch, I think Australia would have been 100 odd for 7, and our bowlers were not tired at that point. Not at least not as tired as they were towards the end of the day. So that would have made it easier to wrap up the batting order. Of course, these are all ifs and, projections really, but I think that was a big, big moment. If we had held on to those catches, I think we would have restricted them to a score well below 300. So that was the fourth kind of moment, and I put all these drop catches in one bucket. And then coming on to the day 5, which is the 5th mistake, and these are 4, and I put these 4 batting mistakes under one bucket on day 5. The first big mistake was from Rohit Sharma. I thought he batted well initially, but then this is what happens when you're out of form and when you face a few deliveries, you start feeling a bit confident, and then you feel that you're getting into your groove and you start playing more attacking shots. And the same thing, Rohit got into that false sense of security and he went to play a ball which was just outside the off stump. He wanted to play that to mid-wicket, whereas I think he should have looked to, if he batted the same way he was batting in the first half hour, he would have played that back to the bowler and he would have probably been not out. He wouldn't have, at least it wouldn't have flown to the gully the way it did. So I think poor shot from an out of form batter. So Rohit not helping himself there at all. Big moment. And then even worse shot from Rohit was Kohli. Remember, this was the last over before lunch, and Kohli again, Stark was brought back and he bowls that ball outside off stump. Kohli can't resist, nicks to the keeper, India 3 down. Another huge moment in the game, with clearly the momentum now in Australia as we go into the second session. Now, after second session, we see Pant walk out and he bats with Yashasvi Jaiswal. I think they pull the shutters down. At least Pant does. He doesn't go for his attacking strokes, and credit to him. Yashasvi Jaiswal starts playing more strokes in the second session, hitting Scott Boland for 4s initially, but then so second session went well, but then if you look at the third session, when Travis Head was bowling rank long hop, and then the batter sees it, and he looks to go for the maximum. But I think this is also part of a muscle memory. I think we're criticizing Pant a lot, and we should. But this is, I think, on par with some of the poor batting that we've seen from across the bat. Let's not single out one player, but this was a mistake. why can't we play a pull along the ground? I mean, with the, I think it's the habit that has seeped into our batters is we look to hit sixes, especially in India where the grounds are not that big. One can get away, but in Australia, especially with the fielder back, I think Pant needed to go along the ground and look for the twos and maybe a four if possible. So that was a mistake. And the last mistake was Yashasvi Jaiswal. He had batted quite well. He also rode a bit of luck. He played a lot of flashes outside the off stump and got lucky that he didn't edge. So I think he was on 80 odd. And then Cummins bowls a slower bouncer, which Yashasvi Jaiswal looks to take it on. Now, I mean, why would you look to do that? India were already in a spot of bother. I think he was batting with Washington Sundar at that point. So there was no need to go for that stroke. And it was, I think, as irresponsible a stroke as Pant's or Kohli's or Rohit's, I would say. So, yeah, those were, I think, these 4 wickets really were poor batting and poor shot selection given the situation. So let me know what you think if I missed out any key moment from the game. So look forward to the 5th test and hope that India can salvage some pride and at least make this series or draw the series 2-2 so that we can at least hold the Border Gavaskar trophy having won it the last time around.